Welcome to the Drinks Entrepreneur podcast. My name is Alex Macintyre. I'm a chartered financial planner working with founders and leaders across the drinks industry. In each episode, I sit down with the people behind some of the world's most exciting drinks brands to explore the real stories behind launching, building and scaling drinks businesses. If you love the drinks industry and the stories behind the bottles, you're in the right place. Let's get started with today's episode. Right, good morning everyone. Welcome to the Drinks Entrepreneur podcast. It's a Friday morning, 13th of March as we're recording this, and I'm delighted to be joined by Sylvester from the Island Slice Rum Company. Good morning, Sylvester.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
My absolute pleasure. Lovely to meet you. And you're in the delights of Dumbarton, I believe.
Rumbarton.
Rumbarton.
Yeah, so the more beautiful side of Scotland. Today we have it unusually different weather, but yeah, the west of Scotland normally is raining, and it's our typical weather is basically rain, a little bit of clouds. But today there's a bit of sunshine. I don't know why. Maybe because I'm in a good mood.
Fantastic. It's Friday, it's nearly the weekend, and yeah, it's all looking very positive. So what aside from that, just because I thought of it, what came first in your mind, moving to Dumbarton, or the fact that you started a rum company and you thought there was a play on words there? You know, if you'd have moved somewhere else in Scotland that didn't have that ability to do so, just the stars aligned and worked out well that way.
Yes, I looked all through Scotland. I'm looking for where that best rhymes with rum. Nah, no. So yeah, I moved to Dumbarton. Even before Rumbarton even started happening, it was nothing special.
Nothing
Just
related.
yeah, it was. How would I say it? Scottish women don't like leaving Scotland.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, home is home. That's it.
Absolutely, yeah. Very proud of their Scottish
Yes.
roots, definitely. So let's jump right back to the beginning, because obviously you weren't born in Dumbarton. You're
I
from
am.
St.
But
Lucia.
I was born in Clydebank. Nah. No, yes, Saint Lucia, boy, Saint Lucia. Sorry.
So you were born there, obviously. Yeah, I love St. Lucia. That's where I had my honeymoon there many years ago. So I know it's of previous, but obviously you were born there.
Yes.
Yep.
Born in Saint Lucia. By the way, when was the last time? When was your honeymoon?
Oh gosh, that was over 20. Get in trouble now for not remembering. 20 years ago.
You well overdue a revisit.
I'm definitely overdue a revisit.
Yeah,
Absolutely, yes,
yeah.
yeah,
I
definitely.
will let Saint Lucia Tourism know you come in. Anyway,
Fantastic. Please do.
so yeah, born in Saint Lucia, in a small town, not even a town, a village, called Saltibus. Everybody in Saint Lucia knows. Well, everybody in Saint Lucia know every village. In Saltibus, grew up there, lived with my dad in another small village which most Saint Lucians might not even know of, called Lamaze. Most of these
Mhm.
places are literally in the center of the island, around the rain, concentrated around the rainforest area of the island. And that's where I grew up. Do I continue with my life story, or are you gonna ask me
Please
more?
do, please do.
Okay,
Yeah, no, because
so
I know a little bit
um,
of it, but it's fascinating.
yeah, so grew up there, didn't have much, there was no running water, no electricity, nothing special, nothing. Well, for me, it was very special. I love it. There's no regrets there. Um, Everything was being done the old way. So I am a direct descendant of an enslaved West African, who was brought to the Caribbean to work on the plantations.
Mhm.
So everything was just we did with what we have, and if we don't have it, we made it so that we could make it work.
Mhm.
And that's how I got brought up. That's how everything was working. Um, about 2000, I moved to New York. Most of my family were immigrated to America, New York. So around 2000, I graduated from high school and moved to New York. Stayed there for a while. 9/11 happened. I literally just put in bullet points out there. I'm not talking in depth
Yeah,
about
no, no,
everything
no,
yet.
that's good. Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Moved moved to New York and 9/11 happened while I was there. I lived in Brooklyn, not in New York City itself. I lived in
Right,
Brooklyn with
okay.
my
Yep,
family, just across the water.
yep.
Um, the crazy thing about 9/11, I think that's the moment that's not the moment that changed. Well, that was one of the moments that changed my life. But I have loads of moments like that in terms of even in St. Lucia, moving to New York, stuff like that. But that moment changed not only my life, it changed the world.
Mm,
It changed everything that
yep.
we had. It kind of shifted the world in a different way. But I remember the day because I was maybe about what, 19 years old.
Mm.
Um, and I remember the day that it happened, the morning that it happened, it was about 9 o'clock. Guess where I was? 19 years old in bed. I was,
Yeah.
I was
Yes.
sleeping. I was sleeping. I thought 9, 10 o'clock, whatever time it was. I was sleeping, and all I could hear is my sister screaming
Mm,
in the living room. Just
yeah,
what's going on? What's happening? Like just
yeah,
literally, I don't know. I couldn't interpret because I've never heard a panic like that. I couldn't
mm,
interpret whether she was screaming because of excitement or because of fear or what it was happening. But there was some strange way she was just screaming. So I
yeah,
jumped out of the bed and went and see what happening. I looked at the TV instantly. And I saw the whole news and the rubble of the first tower going down and
yes.
everything on the TV. And I'm like, in my head, I'm thinking, what Bruce Willis film is that?
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like,
It
yeah,
was,
what movie is that? And then she's
yeah.
like, and then I told her out loud, like, what movie is that? Is it that? What
It,
is that?
shocking, wasn't it? Yeah, yeah,
And then she pointed, she's like, oh, look out the window. And then I look out the window, and it was just in time. The silhouette of the smoke, the second plane hitting,
gosh.
and the building going down, like right there, and changed
Wow.
everything. That I remembered about 9/11. um, Subsequently, after that, everybody in America got patriotic. Everybody,
Oh,
whether you're American or not, you get patriotic. As you
yes.
could tell, I don't have an American accent. I don't have a Scottish accent. I don't even know what accent I've got. But in America, it turns into such everybody was under such high security. If you speak with
Yes.
a different accent, you were a suspect. You were not trusted. It turned into, I'm not talking about racism in a way that black against white. I'm talking about racism in terms of you're not from here.
Yeah, I'm with,
You got,
yeah,
yeah, yes, the high
understand.
security.
Yes.
So I got into that position where I'm speaking with a St. Lucian accent and so on and so forth, and they don't trust their own neighbors because of what happened.
Gosh. Mm.
That's one thing I experienced. But however, 2 years later, I found myself, a few years later, I found myself in Germany, married to an American serviceman, because everybody also was joining the military, the American military.
Right, okay.
I
Yep.
found myself in Germany, based in Germany. Um, as a military contractor with the Department of Defense. Um, and working in Germany in Ramstein. I worked in Ramstein, a small base called Vogelway, just outside of Ramstein. During the Iraq war, because we went to Iraq and so on and so forth. So I was down there for a while, lived in Germany. Good times, good times.
Yep.
So it was like a sigh of relief for me leaving America and going to
Yes.
Germany. Despite what everybody was thinking about Germany, because there was that little bit of a few Americans were like, Germany, nah, man, you've never been to. It's not a good shout. But when I got there, it was like weight off my shoulders. The place was good. I felt like it was sunshine every day.
Right,
Um,
okay. Yep, yep.
so
Made the right
I
move.
did,
Yep.
yeah. So of course, young, what words can I use on it? What age level are the people who watching your podcast?
Oh, any age. Yeah, I mean, typically it's probably going to be
18 and
uh,
older.
19. Yeah, definitely at all adult age. Yep. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
you didn't warn me about colorful language, so I don't
No,
know.
no, feel free, feel free. Yeah.
So at about 20, what, 20 to 22, I was in Germany, young, dumb, full of cum, making those silly mistakes with my life, getting paid and doing things. I got a divorce from that first wife. During that divorce, I was looking for something to do. I couldn't go home. I spent all my money. I couldn't go to St. Lucia. I spent all my money. I couldn't go to America because I thought it was the worst part of section of my life, basically.
Right. Okay.
Um, so I decided, you know what, I'm gonna come to London for 2 weeks, decompress, make a decision, go back to Germany. Bear in mind, I still had a job in Germany. I was still working in Germany.
Right.
And while I was Trafalgar Square, while doing my sightseeing, walking around Trafalgar Square, I walked into a place called that's Job Center because I was in the middle of soul searching trying to find something. So I walked into some place that not Job Center, careers office.
Okay. Right.
Careers office, it says.
Yeah.
In America, careers office is a job center.
Yes. Yeah.
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 In England, I've never been to England. I've never actually gone to London. Careers office is a recruiting center for the military. I walked,
Yes.
yeah, I walked in. I walked in. I was like, oh shucks, but because I was around the military for about 3 4 years already.
Yes. Of course. Yeah.
I was okay. I was like, okay, maybe they're recruiting for the military in here also. So let me see what's it. I went to the desk, and they're like, yeah, what's your name? What you want? I'm like, I'm just here to see what the options are. Like, I'm in Germany. I'm just checking to see if there's anything in the UK, like work
Yeah.
wise, and just checking my prospects. And they're
Of
like,
course.
yeah, where you from? What's it? I was like, St. Lucia. I'm a St. Lucian, but I'm with the American military on a military base in Germany. They're like, nah, military. You work with one military, we can't take you on. Blah blah. The whole story. It was like I was about to say, are your job set? I was about, but because they said that, I kind of just walked out because I was not really. I was about to walk out, and they're like, however, you got an accent. You don't have an American accent. Where exactly are you from? I'm like, I'm from St. Lucia. They're like, you still got a St. Lucian passport? I'm like, yes. They're like, oh, you know.
Ah,
Um,
that changes things.
um,
Yeah.
did you know you could join as a Commonwealth? I'm like, join. They're like, yeah, you could do this. They're like, yeah, this is a military recruiting office, so you could join the military from here. I was like, nah, that's not really one of my choices. They're like, you sure you don't want to even do the Baptist to see what job you're gonna be in? I was like, they're like, it don't hurt. You don't win nothing. You don't lose anything. You just do the
Yeah.
back
True.
test.
Yeah.
In fact, they're like, yeah, you could know how smart you are, really. You know, basically it gives you your knowledge on things. Um, and I was like, oh, why not? I'm here. I'm just wasting 2 weeks anyway, so
May as well.
let me do
Yeah.
it. I sat down, do the test. And it was like, yeah, you could be a signals of no, you could be a signals. You could work with signals. You could work with logistics. You got this. You got that. These are the options you got based on your back test. I was like, if I'm gonna join the military, I have to be based back in Germany. If I could get a promise that I'm based in Germany, I will do it. And they're like,
Okay.
oh,
Yep.
we've got a unit in Germany that's permanently based in Germany. I was like, what's it? They're like, this one, rifles. Um, it's 5 rifles based in Germany. I was like, okay. I was like, what they do? He's like, yeah, infantry. I was like, eh, infantry. Am I really? But bear in mind, I'm depressed as hell. I'm not depressed. My headspace is not there. I was not
Yeah.
depressed.
You're in a different
My
space.
headspace
Yeah.
was not there.
Yeah.
And they like, I was not depressed for sure. They were like, yeah, this one. I was like, you know what? Let's do it. They're like, okay, let's do it. I sat down, signed the paperwork, and they're like, okay, thank you. We'll send you information when everything goes through. At the end of my 2 weeks, I went back to Germany, continued my job. And as promised, they sent a letter. They called me, sent a letter saying with everything that I need, and they're like, yeah, you need to start in March of 2008. 2008. You need to start in March of 2008. You need to be in Catterick, and here's the instructions. Give me all the instructions, all my tickets, plane ticket, rail ticket, everything in there, and show up. So I literally dumped everything in Germany, everything, house, car. everything, just
Wow.
left
Okay. Yeah.
everything behind.
Yeah. Right.
Make sure I did not leave anything that was too like gonna bite me in the bum later. And
Yes.
then I just flew to England, and I was at Catterick Infantry Training Center, training to be a British military infantry.
Fantastic.
Um, One thing I forgot to mention, while I was on that base in Germany, working as a civilian with the Americans, there was something that happened that always played in my head about the British military.
Right.
So the American military would go through, the German military would walk through, the Dutch military, because it was a kind of a NATO contingent base. But then whenever a British military personnel walk through, especially infantry, with the I call it bum fluff. Don't tell him that I'm a rifleman. We don't carry that bum fluff thing.
I know what you
But
mean. Yes.
yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
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 Whenever they walk through,
Yeah.
all the Americans would stop, and their mouth would just, and they would watch that person walk all the way through,
Right.
or that
Wow.
group of
Okay.
guys
Yeah.
walk or girls walk all the way through.
Yes.
And there was that sense of awe of the British military, the way they carried themselves and everything amongst the Americans.
That's interesting. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
And I remember that, and I was like, and that played in my head all the time. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be
Yeah.
here. I'm joining the best team here. I'm doing.
Yeah.
That pumped me up with the choice I made. About that choice I made, I felt really
Absolutely.
satisfied
Yes.
with the choice. Um, and yeah, I did my training by March to November, as promised. Same way I came, same way I went back. Here's your ticket. Here's your thing. You're going back to Germany. I was like, whoa, this is because everybody in the camp was like, yeah, they never keep their promise. They send you where you're needed,
Right.
basically.
Yep.
But it was like, as promised, hey,
We're
there's your
back.
ticket.
Yep.
You're going back to Germany, five
Yep.
rifles. Landed in Germany. 2 weeks later, I was in Iraq. 2 weeks later in Iraq. No regrets, because that's what I did all the training for. It's kind of like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, straight in, Iraq, and came back, chill out. Maybe another 2 years later, Afghanistan. Did Afghanistan, nice, did that, loads of training here, there, everywhere, whether it's Kenya, Canada, Poland, everywhere, just basically moving about, doing things, and I loved it. The Germans used to call us mini millionaires because all we had was a phone bill. All I had was a cell phone bill. I speak German. I speak
Right. Okay.
German.
Yep.
I mingle with the Germans, and then all I had was a phone bill. So they used to be like
Fantastic. Gosh.
junior doctor wages.
Yes. Yeah. No. Yeah. No. No. No major ties or anything. And
No major
yeah.
ties, nothing, no, nothing like. And I'm divorced. I was not looking for a girlfriend. I was just literally living
Yeah.
my best life. Weekends, it used to be because almost because it was British military. Most of the guys used to go but come back home to Britain. My thing was, where in Europe am I gonna go next this weekend? It's literally where in Europe I'm gonna go
Yeah.
next. So it will be, or if I convince some of the guys, yeah, let's go to. I hope nobody from the border control of Romania is listening to this.
I'm sure. I'm sure you're okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but it used to be, where we going? We're gonna go to Romania. Okay, let's go to Romania. We'll book it when we get it. We'll book the ticket when we get it. And we just used to just drive from our
Yeah.
base and get there. There used to be this thing where if I feel like I'm not going because the guys know I'm the one who normally travel, or I go place, and I'm like, nah, this weekend I'm just gonna chill, hang out around base, and I got stuff to do for fitness on Monday.
Yep.
Um, they would come to my room, take me, chuck me in the boot of the car, and they wouldn't let me out until we get to the border of Romania.
Amazing. Gosh. Yeah.
Stuff like that. And then when they let me out, they're like, "You, hey, well, you gotta try and hitch a hike all the way
Yeah.
back
You've
to."
got to stay now. Yeah.
Yeah. And stuff like that used to happen. We just literally go places, do things. It was good time. It was really good
Yeah.
times. Um, about my 7th year, I felt like, too much of a good time. Too much, something's about to happen to me. I felt I got that feeling. And I gave myself a timeline of within a year, I need to do the transition out of the British military because
Yeah.
too much good times, too much bad times. Because with the good times come bad times in terms of
Yeah.
the deployments I was doing and the work, the way we were doing it and everything. I was like, that's it. And
Yeah.
for some reason I got scared of flying, if that makes sense. Um,
Yes. Yeah.
I got really not scared, but there's always that little thing whenever I get on a plane, like I get a little bit of anxiety. Um, I think it's more of the way the planes were landing in Afghanistan or in Iraq whenever we're landing it. Then
Oh,
actually,
yeah. I can only
anyway,
imagine. Yeah.
so that happened. Oh yeah, and that's when I met my Scottish wife. So yeah,
Right.
um,
So
just,
where
just
did you
about.
meet her?
Oh, I like telling people Crete.
Crete. Okay.
Crete, yeah, yeah, nicer,
Fantastic.
nicer and Crete.
Yeah.
Malia.
Well, yeah, that said, yeah, that was a fun time, no doubt. Yeah.
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 So yeah, about the same time I was having this thoughts, a few months later I met her, and that 1 year plan turned into a 6 month plan of getting out.
Okay. Yeah.
Within 6 months I got out, got based in not based, I was looking for my options were in my head were Canada, New Zealand, Australia, back to St. Lucia. That was my options of where I'm gonna look for jobs and what I'm gonna be doing.
Yeah.
But she instantly changed that. Just as a girlfriend, she changed that. She was like, Scotland, Scotland.
Yeah.
I was
That's
like,
it. That it's a short list of one country,
what country?
Sylvester. Yeah.
Uh, the most I've done in Scotland is training. Basically, come here, do the training in Gaylord Head, or wherever in Scotland, and back to Germany. And I don't
Right.
know
Yeah.
anything about Scotland. I just remember one of my final training my final military training before I passed out of Catterick was in Gaylord Head, and we had 15 different weather systems in one day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember having upwards rain. I've never experienced upwards rain
Upwards.
anywhere.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
And yeah, I moved to Scotland, looking for things to do. I joined the Scottish Police Force. It's not a police force, Police Scotland. I joined Police Scotland. They like to say we're not a police force, we are Police Scotland. So joined Police Scotland, kind of looking for that same military camaraderie I had,
Yes. Yeah.
and expecting it also, but that didn't exist really. It's okay. It was okay. It was like now I'm looking at it a few years down. I'm like, yeah, that's just normal civilian life. But because I had an expectation and what I was getting was
Yes. I'm
so.
with you.
But
Yeah.
I hung with it. I hung in there, did the job. But in November 2025, 2015, my dad passed away. Not only he passed away for the funeral, I made the decision that I am not attending the funeral. And it's
Right.
not because I couldn't make it or I didn't want to do it, or it's not none of the things that you're thinking. It's more
Yeah.
because I attended so many funerals as an infantryman. And these were my brothers, right? These were my brothers.
Yeah.
I
Of
attended these
course. Yeah.
funerals, and
Yeah.
I lost a lot of people, whether it's through the war or through certain things that happened in
Yeah.
country.
Yeah.
Um, I treated my dad's funeral the same exact way. I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, another brother. I cannot take another. I think I'll be broken if I attend this funeral. I
Yeah.
cannot attend it, and I did not. I did not attend it, and my whole life I lived without regrets, and this is the closest I ever got to regretting.
Okay. Yeah.
The night of the
Yeah.
funeral, while I was sitting here in Scotland, the closest I got to regret,
Yeah.
ever getting close
Yeah.
to regret. Very painful, very deep, very yeah.
Yeah. Of course.
I never had that feeling before. I lost those people. I never had that feeling before. I didn't know what was happening to me. Um, Needless to say, the following days, just I couldn't function properly. I couldn't function. So all I did, the way I did it, was I just sat down and just wrote, just started writing everything that I know about him, everything that he taught me, everything that. everything. I just kind of just got everything out of my head and put it on paper. Just scribble up notes and loads of scribble up
Yeah, cool.
notes.
Yeah.
And somehow everything revolved around rum, whether it is Cabawe. Cabawe is a rum shop in St.
Yeah.
Lucia. Whether it's the way he was making rum, whether he's talking to his friends about rum, everything revolved about around rum, how he was making rum, and everything had a rum element in it. And and I think my wife said to me, "Hey, have you ever thought about anything to do with rum? To that you do because you could do that. You could do something with rum." I was like, "Yeah, I could do something." By the time she said that, it kind of just light a spark. I'm not a businessman. I don't.
Yeah. So complete.
Yeah,
Yeah. Obviously,
it's
yeah. With your
it just
background, it was military
lit-
police. Yeah,
yeah,
completely different, but with this strong desire or rum background that you had through your dad.
yeah, yeah, and it sparked. It just literally sparked something. So the December that was in December, January 16th, 2016. I'm pretty sure that's the date, or is it January 6th, 2016? That was the first registered rum company, modern rum company in Scotland.
In the whole of Scotland.
In the
Wow.
modern rum company. I didn't know
That's
what product I was gonna release, anything yet.
gosh.
I just
Yeah.
registered a rum company, Island Slice. Around that same time, my son was born. I was like, yeah, a little slice of the islands, a little slice, giving a little slice of the islands to Scotland. He's a little slice of the islands. Um,
Fantastic.
so I call it Island Slice. Registered it around April. I launched the first product, which was a rum punch. Basically, I remember my mom making rum punch, basically fruit juice and rum.
Yeah.
That's it, and a little bit,
Yeah.
a few spices. So I launched the rum punch just to see does Scotland really appreciate rum apart from OVD, apart from these dark, rich navy rums? Do they really would they really take on rum in
Yeah.
such a way? Just something different. And to my delight, it was like, whoa, what is that? Fresh fruit juice with rum? What is that? Rum punch. And sold. I literally sold over the weekend. It got sold out. The rum punch got sold out. So it just cemented the the path that I chose there. It cemented it. It was like, yep, rum, since Scottish wants rum, and they like rum punch. So did that for a while. Got kept making rum punch, selling it as a fresh product. Um, uh, well, alcohol is not healthy in any ways, but it was the healthier alcohol if you had to choose one,
It's
apart
got
from,
fruit with it.
yeah,
Yeah.
fresh fruit
It's
juice and rum. And besides, rum was always used as a base for most medication in the past, anyways. With fruit juice and rum.
yeah.
For yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
Yeah, definitely.
um, so did that. While I was doing that, let's see. So do I go into the police career? We could go any path there. Go down the police career. Dark. Go down anyway.
So you're still in the police at this point, are you?
Yes, I'm still
Yeah.
with the police
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah.
Um, so I was doing that, producing the product, selling, getting it sold out there. The police was not happy. It was against SOPs. And it was not against SOPs. It appeared to be against SOPs
Okay.
as standard operating procedures
Yeah.
of Police Scotland. In terms of, I produce a product, and it's my product, but I was not responsible to be the one out there selling it, doing the licensing. I did not get a license to sell that product. I gave it to somebody with a license to sell it on my behalf.
Okay. And was
It's
the issue because it was alcohol or just because it was a side business to
No, it's not because it was a
police?
side business. It was because it was to do with alcohol. With licensing, the police has to. You could see where they're coming from, because
Yeah.
with they have to approve the license for
Yeah.
the providers of the alcohol. So every time. So for instance, I like talking rum. I like talking rum. So if as for instance, BBC Radio Scotland would give me a call and they'll say, yeah, we heard you doing crazy things with rum. Can you tell us a little bit of the history of rum and talk about rum with us? I'm like, I'll talk about rum. I'll go on the
Of
radio,
course I
talk about
will. Yeah.
rum. the job will hear about I'm talking about rum online, not selling Island Slice, just talk about rum. They'll be like, yeah, you
In general,
promoting,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, you selling rum. I'm not selling Island Slice rum. This is a different thing. You know what I mean?
Yes,
So
yeah, yeah,
it's a whole crowd area.
yeah.
So they give me quite a hard time. Every time they hear it, I'll sit on the bench, able, ready. What was it? Ready, willing, and unable. I'm already
Yes,
willing and unable body.
yeah, absolutely, yeah, yeah,
Sitting on the bench, cannot do anything. And they will do that for 6 months while they do their investigation to make sure that I don't break any SOPs
yeah,
away from the streets. Make sure that any no SOPs were broken. And after 6 months, they would just there's a piece of paper, go back to it, get back on the streets. And every 6 months every time that happens, it just demoralized me even more
yeah,
and more
yeah.
and more
And
and
go
more.
through it
But
again.
yeah, but I kept with it. Um, one of my biggest mistakes. Let's talk about mistakes. Yeah, one of my
Go
biggest
on, yeah.
mistakes, right? While in this process, so you notice I said I was making rum punch. I was getting fruit juice, mixing it with supermarket rum, and selling it as my product. Um, nobody I've ever interviewed ever asked me, what did HMRC think in terms
Oh,
of
that's an interesting point. Yes, so yeah,
in,
that would be yeah, and I'm sure there's an interesting story how that came about.
in terms of duty and the
Yeah,
other obligations of HMRC. So, like I say, never businessman. I'm thinking it's just as easy because I don't have to pay duty because the duty is already paid and blah blah blah. I'm,
on
I'm
the
thinking,
yeah.
oh, I think I'm trying to think what do you call it, 3D chess, where I have a 2D brain. I'm like, yeah, everything's paid. Everything should be nice and clean. Everything should be
Yeah,
good. So business is doing good. I need more rum. I cannot afford to buy more supermarket rum. I need to cut costs in terms of the bulk rum. I need to get bulk rum rather than bottles of rum.
mm, yeah,
So I called the company. The company tell me, yes, you could get 25 liters of rum for £200. We have it delivered to you and so on and so forth. I was like, get it, deliver that to me immediately. £200 thing. Um, I I was like, and they're like, I will send you an invoice. They send the invoice. It turned out to be 2,500 and something. I'm like, wait a minute. You spent £200. What's happening here?
there's an extra zero there. Yeah,
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 and then
something's not right there.
that's
Yeah,
not right. You're chumping me, and me thinking I'm being scammed. Guess who I called?
go on.
HMRC.
Yeah. Ah, okay, right. Yeah, yeah,
I technically dubbed myself in.
yeah,
So I call HMRC and I'm like, yeah, I'm this Island Slice Rum company, and this is what I'm doing. I'm getting rum, I'm mixing rum, and this is I contacted this company, and I'm just calling to find out how much duty should be, and how should it be paid? Should it be paid by myself or by them? And so forth. The guy on the phone, they never answer the phone. They normally
yeah,
tell you send an email and they call you back.
yeah.
So the guy when he called back, so remember he called me. First thing it was into it was like, you doing what? How what for the process? What are you doing? I was like, oh no, oh no, uh, oh no. And he's like, yeah, this is what you do. This is what you're doing. This and this. Okay, do you have a business plan? I was like, yeah, I got this. He's like, I'd like to meet. I was like, okay. Oh my God, what have I done now? What have I done now? Met up with him, and he's like, so you mix in alcohol, finished alcohol with fruit juice, and then you bottling it. I said to the consumer, do you do you have a compounding certificate? I was like, compounding? Because I don't know what that is, I'll say no. And he's like,
Yeah.
uh-huh. And then he's like, what do you do when this alcohol is the mix does not work? Do you just throw away the alcohol? What do you do? I was like, I just pour it into a small still I have, and I extract the alcohol and I start all over again. He's like, huh, do you have a rectifying certificate? Because that's rectifying. I'm like, no. And he's like, I basically I said no because I didn't know what rectifying
Well,
is.
yeah, what it was. Yeah. Yep.
And he's like, oh, okay. And he took his notes down. And then he looked at me. He's like, let's see your business plan. He looked at the business plan. He went through it. He's like, okay, good, good. And he's like, how long you been doing this? I was like, from April. And he says, okay, you know that you've broken like two whatever it is. You've broken two of them, and there's a fine for that. A fine of £10,000, I think, or something so.
Wow.
So I got set up. I was like, I knew I messed up. I knew I messed up somehow
Yeah.
because I'm getting called to the principal's office. I messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But you were being honest about it. You weren't trying to hide
That's
anything. So,
that's what he said. He's like, you were
yeah.
honest about it, you were open about it, and
Yeah.
we look at it. Normally you'd have to pay the same, but I'll speak to my boss and see if we could reduce it significantly for you. And he
Okay.
looked at the business plan. He's like, so you have all this knowledge based on your business plan, the way you wrote it, the things I wrote. The knowledge is there to distill rum, to do this rectification, and you're doing all your things properly in
Hmm.
there.
Yeah.
And you're buying rum from outside the UK. And I was like, yeah. He's like, okay. He was not trying. He just said okay, and he's like, okay, HMRC could give distillers license. They could give rectifying, like I call it license certificates or licenses, distilling certificates, licenses, rectification, compounding. That's something that we do. That we cover that in our department. We cover all this, and I was like, oh. I just thought about it. I was not thinking clearly because all I'm panicking like I'm gonna have to pay £10,000. Um,
Yes. Yeah.
and then he's like, okay, I'll get back to you. We ended the meeting. He went. I went. I think before he even ended, sat on. He gave me his number before he even sat on his desk. I was already calling him saying, hey, how do I become a distiller? And he's like, and, and he did not make it easy for me. He said, okay, you distill the rum. Where are you distilling it? I'm like, in my backyard. He's like, ha. But it was like in my backyard, and it was like he was like, okay, okay, how you securing it? How you gonna make sure ensure that not only your assets, but HMRC assets are secured and etc. etc. Asking all these complicated questions. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this CCTV. I'm gonna have this secured. If my home is gonna be even more secure because it's just right there and so on and so forth. And he's like, okay, you distill the alcohol in your kitchen or in your backyard. You distill it. Where you storing it? I was like, in the shed. He's like, you do know you need a bonded warehouse to store any alcohol produced. I was like, okay, I'll take that. He's like, that's not how it works. Okay, you get a bonded warehouse. You want to make rum punch. You don't have a compound, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll take that. I'll do that. And he's like, just like you said, if you mess up, you need to redistill. You still need a rectifying, even if you have a distilling. I
Yeah.
was like, okay, I'll do that. He's like, you know what? As soon as I get to the office, I'll send you the documents. You fill in the documents. I'll look through them, and
Wow.
we'll see if it's certified. If we could certify it, and if based on the evidence you produce. Um, True to his promise, as soon as he got to the office, he sent all the documents, big pile of papers. Most people would be overwhelmed, but
Yes.
the police taught me one thing:
Paperwork. Yeah.
paperwork.
Yeah. Yeah.
And do it diligently and go through
Absolutely.
everything and make
Yeah.
sure everything is answered properly. So I did that, did it diligently. Took me a few weeks to get it, and I sent it back to him. He did all his also due diligence, call, came and visit, did all these things. And he's like, how many liters you plan on producing? He asked all the relevant question of
Yes.
what I'm doing. And he's like, I'm ready to approve you distilling at home if your local council approves. I was like, oh
Right.
no,
Something
oh
else.
no,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh no. But yeah, long story short, I became one of the first rum distillers in Scotland, distilling from my home on a budget.
Fantastic. Gosh. Yeah.
Um,
So,
and I was making rum. I wasn't making big amounts, just small amounts of rum, nothing too much. I was doing the rum punch. The rum punch was selling. It was a big hit.
mm,
But then there's something that happened in my head that I thought was right. But when I look at it now, it was not 100% right in terms of the pivot from selling the rum punch to becoming a distiller and focusing on the spirit rather than on the cocktail. Bear in mind, that's 2016. RTDs was not a big hit.
Yeah, true. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So what they say? Regret is the mother of all fuck ups or something like that. Anyway, Martin's
Which
whatever.
philosopher said that? Yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that. But anyway, so I looked I looking at it now. If I kept on the route, yeah, keep distilling, put rum in barrels, don't sell out as a spirit brand, but focus on the cocktail side, I would have been ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
That's so in that story that I said, I'm just telling you the my all my fuck ups and how I'm fixing it. So how I'm fixing it, it's not too late. I'm in the RTD game now. I'm releasing my rum punch as in an RTD,
Fantastic.
the same exact rum punch, in a can, 350 ml, 8% alcohol.
Okay.
Better late than never. I'm gonna get it out there. I'm gonna just keep the spirits burn running, but not if something exciting happens, it happens. But I want to
Yep.
just what I aim to do is to keep rum in barrels for the future. I want to age rum to whiskey standards. Did that make sense?
It does. Yeah,
Select the
absolutely. Yeah.
barrel, select the
Yeah.
barrel properly. Make sure there's a minimum age standard because rum doesn't have that. But I want my rum to reflect. Yes, it's a Caribbean rum, but I want it to reflect where it's made, which is Scotland.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so try and keep that heart to it, that Caribbean meets Scotland heart to it.
Absolutely. That's an interesting one, isn't it? Because you see a lot of Caribbean rums that have got the aging and, whatever it is, 2012, 2016. Whereas, should we say, UK rums, you don't have, it's just there's the bottle, that's what it. Whereas you've got the distinction of being based in Scotland, where the national wine of whiskey does have, obviously it is celebrated for its aging process. So
And it's
it
prestigious because of that.
yeah, absolutely, and it makes
Yeah,
sense. Yeah, you're combining the two
the two countries.
the two countries. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So well, let's talk about the rum because you've got a white, a dark, a spiced, and something a little bit different.
Yeah, totally different. Totally different. So I've got a Scotch bonnet rum. As you can see, it's ice cold.
Fantastic.
Scotland is ice cold. It's ice cold. A Scotch bonnet rum.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Um, crazy. Scotch bonnet rum was never supposed to happen.
Okay. Yep.
It was never supposed to happen. I was happy with my because like I say, I love rum. I've created the dark rum to my standards, how I feel like rum should be enjoyed and so on and so forth. So if I like it, hopefully I create it in such a nice, special way for myself that the
Mm.
public or whoever is going to consume is going to enjoy it, appreciate it. The white rum is basically my distillate brought down to 40%. The spice rum is spice, basically the spices on rum kind of reflect my Caribbean background. But the Scotch bonnet rum, I did not want to add anything extra to my list. That was my rum, my free rums. That's it. The Scotch
Yes.
bonnet rum happened because the gin boom was happening. People were looking for other things to do and so on and so forth. This guy approached me. He's like, "Yeah, I'm looking for something different to do because in my head I'm always thinking flavors. I'm flavor. I'm
Yeah.
Mr. Flavor. I'm always thinking flavors." So he came to me and he was talking to me and he's like, "Yeah, I'm looking for something to add to my gin line, and I'm wanting to go down the rum route. Do you have anything in mind?" I was like, "Do I have things in mind? I got lime. I've got lime. I've got ginger. I've got tamarind. I've got
Plenty. Yeah.
plantain. I've got flavors. I've got what flavors?" And then I was like, "I got even Scotch bonnet." He's like, that kind of piqued his interest. And
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
like,
it would. Yeah.
yeah. So I told him the reason why I have the Scotch bonnet because when he asked, he's like, "Tell me what this." I was like, "The Scotch bonnet is something my dad used to do. He used to take fresh Scotch bonnet, thing of rum, used to add it, and every season that he had a Scotch bonnet, he would top it up with Scotch bonnet, top it up with rum,
Right. Okay. Yeah.
and then he would maybe put a few bits of fruit in there, and that's
Yeah.
it. And then the people who just buy it like this just pour it in straight into the flask or the glass, and people buy it like that. As you know, the elders they're like everything that's not good for you. Well, it's rum. Let me not say that I'm a rum man. I shouldn't say that. Anything that seems to be better, it has a medicinal purpose.
Absolutely, yes.
Everything has a medicinal purpose. So
Absolutely, yeah. Couldn't
the
agree
Scotch
more.
bonnet had a medicinal purpose within its cabaret. Cabaret is rum shop. Um, it had a medicinal purpose. It's supposed to thin the blood. It's supposed to give you that gusto, that get up and go.
Definitely.
Um, so I told him that's what it is, but he's like, yes, he was just focused on the Scotch bonnet. I'm like, yeah, it's a pepper tradition native to the Caribbean and shaped.
Yep.
The reason of the name is shaped like a Scotch bonnet, the Scottish
Yes.
beret.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so he's like, oh, can you do me a sample? I did a small sample. I give it to him. He's like, "Oh, that's good." He's like, yeah, make me 100 liters. I made 100 liters of it. Me being a nice guy, very business minded. Um, I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I did it. I tell him it's ready. He came. He came with his minion, and he's like, Sylvester, tell him how to make rum. I was like, I'm happy to teach anybody how to make rum. What's up? Because I prefer people coming to me and seeing how I make rum to tradition, to my ancestors' tradition, rather than
Yes.
going on YouTube and thinking the way everybody they might get to the wrong YouTube channel and thinking rum is being made by adding flavors and tinctures and all this stuff. Rum is not
Yeah.
being made like that. That's a gin thing. That's not a rum thing.
Mm,
So I say, yeah, I'll teach you
yeah.
how to make rum. He's like, no, teach him how to make the Scotch bonnet. I'm like, so I don't appear as a businessman. I was born at night, but I was not born last night. You know,
Absolutely.
so,
Yeah.
so
You're not
what you
giving all
playing
the
on? What you
tricks
playing
of
on
the
there? There's
trade.
100 liters. Let's talk business. After we talk business, I'll train your young lad how to make rum.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this 100 liters of rum. He's like, wait. We'll make this deal, so on and so forth. To this day, I haven't heard from him. Um,
God.
so while I was branding into to my now brand, oh, to the
What
this
rum?
year,
Yep. Yep.
um, one of the guys who were there, they're like, yeah, Scotch bonnet rum is good. I don't know why you're not releasing it. You rebranding now is the perfect time to release Scotch bonnet rum. And this guy doesn't drink rum. He doesn't drink rum, but he thought this Scotch bonnet is fire. He didn't expect it to be because Scotch bonnet is scary. When people hear it, they're thinking that's gonna be hot. Because
Yeah.
up up to recently, it was the hottest pepper on the Scoville scale. Before
Mm.
the guys in America started messing with the genome and made the Carolina Reaper and all that crazy stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Scotch bonnet rum is the hottest natural pepper in the world that's not been genetically
Tampered with
modified.
or yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Reconfigured. Yeah.
So everybody had that fear of Scotch bonnet. And when you smell it, it has the smell of Scotch bonnet. So you get that fear like, oh my God, that's going to be hot. And when he tasted it, he's like, and he's like, oh, there's the heat. And then he's like, but the heat didn't last. It just came,
Yeah.
it lingered, it exploded all the flavors and made you want more. And he's like, you better release that.
Perfect.
You
Yeah.
better release that. I was like, okay, I'll try. I'll create a label for it. Let's see what's happening. Not a regret. It's my top selling skill,
Well, you've just saved me a question. So out of the whole four of them, that is by far and away
the top seller.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Presumably
Yeah.
it's unique, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's nothing else like it.
It's different, it's unique, it piques their interest. And when
Yeah.
people taste it, they're pleasantly surprised. They expect it to be a gimmick, just heat like tensions. Because I must say about my rum, I don't add any other additional sugar. I don't add any additional caramel. I don't add any additional coloring, tinctures. Everything is all natural, the way the ancestors intended for it to be. Just
Fantastic. Yeah.
all natural, where it's just rum. If I say it's dark rum, it's rum and oak. Sorry. Yeah, it's rum and oak.
That's just,
Um,
yeah. I mean,
Nothing else added to it. My spice rum is spices, rum, dried fruit, and maple syrup for sweetness. Uh,
okay. Yeah.
yeah.
Because that's
Um,
the thing. I don't need to tell you, but the amount of the mass-produced flavored rums, they're all synthetic. They're all got things added to them. Um, so to
and
have
the,
something that's natural, is quite different, isn't it? Or is less common. So I can imagine that's very popular from that perspective.
And also, I make rum that I would appreciate that. Like when I invite somebody to my home, because rum is about conversation, having a sip, chilling out. I know both of us not having a sip. It's early in the morning. Come on. It's about conversation. It's about having that
Absolutely.
talk, having that
Yeah.
that connection. So I made that rum so that whoever I'm having that conversation with, I could pour them a rum, not talking. Oh, this is smell the fresh smell of gunpowder in the morning and blah, blah. None of that. You come here, we talk. You come, we sit in. Let's talk about something. I'll pour your rum first. Here, have some rum. You drink with me? Yeah. Well, not now. You're at my home. You drink rum. Um, um,
Fantastic. Yeah.
pour your rum. We sit down. Whether you want to mix it with whatever you want to mix. Once it leaves my hand and it's in your cup, it's your rum.
Okay.
Mix it. Do whatever you want
Yep.
with it. Pour it over your head and tell me, yes, that's good rum. That's good rum. But we're having a conversation. What's happening? Is everything okay? Is the goldfish okay? So on and so forth. What happened to Julie down the road? You know what I
Yep.
mean? See, that's what rum is about. That's what rum has always been in my culture. It's about celebrating
Yeah.
and having conversation, and even the dark conversations. Even while having a dark conversation, come have a seat. Let's have a talk. I'll pour your rum. Let's talk.
Amazing. Well,
Yeah.
what sounds fantastic
Yeah.
to me. That's what it's all about, isn't it? You know, it's enjoying a good quality
Of the spirit.
drink. Um, so obviously since the business started, how in terms of distribution, sales, how is it marketed? How does that sort of the business evolved over the last few years?
I've learned to live and appreciate that. I because it's not about. I've learned to live and appreciate that. Yes, I want the millions. I want the billions. I want the big numbers, but I'm not willing to sell my soul for the billions. I've learned to live with
Yeah.
that in terms of, yeah, I'm not part of the drinks industry in Scotland. I am part of the drinks industry in Scotland as a Scottish producer, but I'm not
Yes.
ingrained with the boys club. I'm not
I'm with you.
ingrained with
Yeah.
all this. I've learned to live with that.
Yeah.
I've learned to live with getting no's because I'm different. I'm the only. I'm now. There's another black distiller in Scotland. I'm not blaming it on racism or anything. I'm blaming it on the way people identify with products. I've learned to live with that, and I just put it on talking about rum. I just do my best to talk about rum and make sure that whoever is doing rum does it in a positive light to not disrespect not only my ancestors, their ancestors also, because rum was more
Yes, of
popular
course.
than whiskey.
Yeah.
Rum was more popular than whiskey in Glasgow before whiskey became popular in Glasgow. Whiskey was still a Highland thing when rum was already in Glasgow.
That's
Because rum came
interesting.
from the
Yeah. Yeah.
enslaved Africans in the Caribbean and its byproduct, the sugar factories down there, the rum distilleries
Yeah.
down there, still the remnants of it. So, um, if not rum, then what? I mean,
Absolutely, absolutely. And have you found because obviously being in Scotland, whiskey being as it is there a divide between your sales in Scotland versus elsewhere in terms of the proportions between the two of them?
um, I, so I like a little bit of history, and I like to look at anything I do. I normally look at the history of what I'm up against. In Scotland, bang, Iron Brew. Iron
Yes.
Brew has this philosophy, right? Had this philosophy which they brought to fruition in terms of get the people to love you, then it doesn't matter where you go. Doesn't
Spot
matter where
on.
you
Yeah.
go, whether they love it or not, it's their
Yeah.
product. They,
Yeah.
they not buy for themselves, but they buy for the stranger. I was in St. Lucia at a
Very true.
hotel, and and this Scottish guy was like, "Yeah, they got Iron Brew here." And then he didn't buy the Iron Brew for himself. He bought the Iron Brew for the American. I'm sad. So it's about getting that small incremental growth and getting people to enjoy the product and understand the heart of the product. It's understand the heart of the product. And if everybody's telling you no, or if you're getting more no's than you're getting yes, because not everybody says no. If you're getting more no's than you're getting yes, stick with it, push on. And the people tell you no, Iron Brewery did not get a distributor. They got trucks and distributed it themselves. But that's because they were hungry, but they were not
Yeah.
greedy.
Yep.
But they were not greedy. And I call it the iron broker. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna push in Scotland, try and take that to do as much in different parts of the Highlands, the Lowlands, everywhere. Just do little everything that I can. Not only that, I try and also keep my company community focused.
Okay. Yep.
In terms of as when I first started, I was in the police. I had a full-time job. I had a full-time job, so the profits I was making for my company was within my military community. So somebody would call me, they would have a problem or something they don't want to talk to somebody about. I would send them the money and say, hey, either come up, there's the money to do what you're doing, or I'll say, yeah, I'll pay for you, come up to Scotland, come see me. And Scotland is a
Wow.
beautiful country. We got what we call loads of outdoor stuff to do, adventure training, we call it in the military.
Yes. Yep.
Kayaking, canoeing, hill walking, all these things. I was like, yeah, fishing is my thing. So I used to get them up here and we used to go out and do these things just to get them to pull them away from the stress down there.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Especially if they're veterans or if they're veteran or if they're active duty and they're thinking, you know what, I cannot do the military no more, and they're looking to go, they're thinking they in the middle of leave and they're thinking, I am not gonna go back. I don't tell them, yeah, come, you have 2 days left, come see me, and I could guarantee you that you'll feel better about everything. Get them up here, and that's why I used to spend my money. I spent my initial
Wow.
profits on my community, which was the military at that time.
Yeah.
Um,
Fantastic. Gosh.
in the police, I sponsored a small football team, with a police football team. That's what I did with my profit. I'm not. Yes, I have to look at myself and I have to take care of myself also. I got family, I got kids and everything, but that's what rum is about. I'm trying to tell that because that's what rum is about. It's about when my dad was, because I'm not doing this because of me. I'm doing it
Yep.
because of what happened to me when my dad passed away and what
Yes.
he stood for.
Yep.
He was the
Absolutely. Yep.
cabaret. The cabaret was the place where not only you went and get rum, you went and get the sugar, flour, salt, spices. Everything was sold from that cabaret. This is where you go to get a psychiatrist, which is the local rum man, that's the elder. That's where you
Love
went
it.
to get
Yep.
all that. And that's
Yep.
what rum is about. And that's why I'm doing this business. I'm not doing it. Yes, of course, in the back of my head somewhere there is the million somewhere. It's
Yep.
there. And I have to think of a business as a businessman to be able to achieve that. But still, I cannot forget the reason why I started this business. I started this business because of my dad. I would have retired as a police officer. I would have
Yeah.
retired and I would have been perfectly happy.
Yeah. Yep.
I would have done that and all that would have happened. So sometimes I feel like I'm under pressure to be something that I am not.
Yeah.
In
That
terms
makes
of
a lot of sense. Yeah.
the reason for the business being, and because I'm moving slowly, 10 years in, and you not haven't done the million yet. No, and I always have to remind myself it's because of my dad I'm doing this. So whatever comes of it, comes of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes perfect sense. And it's not all about, there's obviously many, not just in the drinks industry, many companies that are solely focused on the profit, um, business growth, but you've not forgotten,
The reason why
it's
I'm here.
clear that that is front and center of why you're doing this. It's because of um, your dad and, since and obviously helping other people, creating a community
The
around
local
it.
community, I sponsor the local football club. Whatever I can do to help locally, I do. I volunteer at the school. I do things that's gonna make me feel good. So if there's that extra money to do that, I use it and I do that.
Yeah.
Yes, I reinvest back into my business to make it grow. And even when in my thoughts on hiring, when I hire somebody, I try and explain that to them. I don't think most people don't get it. They're thinking, You have to be an aggressive businessman. You have to go get it. When he tells you no, you take it. So when he tells you
Yeah.
no, just keep going because we just have to make this work. We just have to be present. We have to be here.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we
Yeah.
have to be here
And
and make it and just keep pushing through. Even my own, when I say in terms of, it's nothing to do with racism or anything. It's just the pressure. Everybody have their own vision of what your company should be.
yeah. Yeah.
Because and compared to what this other company did.
Absolutely.
No,
Yeah. And
nobody sees your company the way you see your company, and so it's easy for you to fall into that trap and compare yourself to others. Um, and that's the fight I'm fighting every day, and it's a fight against myself.
well, yeah, it's and it takes strength of mind as well to say, well, if this company or this company are doing that, I don't have to do it that the same way.
There is other routes of
We're
success because
different.
especially getting so many no's, more no's than yes, and knowing that you're not part of the boys club. I call it boys club, but
Mm,
not being part of that. You're not born, grown. You came here in 2014 and you started a
yeah.
business in 2016. Who do you think you are? I know that's the perception most likely that's out there. Maybe not, but that's what I feel whenever I go and I approach people and I'm like, yeah, I'm doing this. They're
Mm,
like, yeah, what you think you're doing? You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I've accepted that's where I am. Not only that, I just remind myself, hey, my dad got me into this. He'll get me out.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what's obviously where you are now? What's the vision you've got? Again,
I
going from what you're saying about keeping true to what you are and what the business is doing. But where do you see the next few years, next 1, 3, 5 years? How do you want things to look over that period of time?
I I have become obsessed since end of last year. No, actually middle of last year. I've been obsessed with community-owned distillery. I really think the community should own my distillery. Most people are, yeah, you know, to check the bottom line, you check the profits, and I'm like, nah. If the community owns my distillery, when I say community, whether it's Dumbarton, the military community, a little bit of everybody everywhere I've been,
Yeah,
military, the local community, the St. Lucians, wherever. That's the people everywhere that I've worked, anybody who's affiliated with it, to own piece of this distillery. I feel that's where my accountant will watch that and he'll roll in his grave.
yeah. Don't show him this. Yeah,
He'll be in trouble. He'll call me in 5 minutes. His eyes will roll. So yeah, but I have become obsessed with making it a community-owned distillery. That way I'm working for the people, not not just myself, and just continuing that place where I started. Yeah,
perfect. Because
yeah.
essentially, without any of those parts, it wouldn't be what it
I
is
would do
today, or you wouldn't be where you are today, would
um,
you?
no, no.
So
It
we,
wasn't for my brothers in arms who had my back, I wouldn't be here. If
yeah,
even no matter how much I might talk negatively about being a police officer and everything, these guys, the team they were good. You know what I mean? So do something for them. Also, I will continue doing my stuff for Erskine. Erskine is the veterans charity up in Scotland.
yes,
Yeah, so I'll continue working with them and doing donations with them. I want it to be community. I want it to have that. I think my dad voice was never heard. That's the best way to make it known and heard.
definitely,
Yeah,
definitely, yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
And then obviously we just sort of finish off with what's in the immediate horizon. Obviously, you've got the rum punch coming out. What's the timeline looking like for
We
that?
we should have that fully well. Everything's already done, branding, everything's done. So 1st of April should
Wow,
be the
okay, not
drop date.
long. Yeah, yeah.
I'm talking about the rum punch. The rum punch, yes, is gonna be there, but we also have a Scotch bonnet, apple and ginger cocktail. Or 8%
Nice.
also
Yeah,
350 mils. 8%
excellent.
alcohol, but it's delectable. It's good.
Fantastic. So
Yeah,
a lot of exciting things coming up.
yeah.
And just generally, Sylvester, how do people find out? Obviously, if no matter where they are in the country or south of the border, Hadrian's Wall, how do they find more about the rums? Where can they buy it? Where can they learn more about it?
So,
How do they get involved with it all?
so on all my social media, it's Island Slice Rum. Just Island Slice Rum at Island Slice Rum. Send me a message. I might reply. Nah, I will reply.
I'm sure.
Island Slice Rum. Also my website, islandslice.co.uk. You could purchase on there. The rum punch is gonna go up on there.
Brilliant.
Um Island on my website. Whenever you're up in Glasgow, the west of Scotland, most of the reputable places have it. Most reputable places have Island
Fantastic.
Slice Rum. Order Island Slice Rum, drink it whenever you're out, and enjoy it. If you like it, let me know. If you hate it, let me know also. You know, it can be,
I'm sure it will be the former,
yeah,
not the latter.
yeah. Um,
Fantastic. Well, I've had a really enjoyable time speaking to you, Sylvester, and it's been great hearing the journey, and I think the difference that I've gathered from the conversation is just how important your roots have been and the history of how the business came about, because it's not just the same, one day I want to start a rum business. There's so much background to the story, and the thought, and also the community aspect, which I think is very much distinct from other companies, and the fact that you're trying to disrupt the market in Scotland, which is a fantastic thing to do, and wish you all the continued success and best wishes for the future. And I'm going to look forward to trying some of the Scotch bonnet rum in due course.
definitely, definitely.
So
Thank you. Thanks for having
thank you
me.
very much and all the
Okay.
best.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.